You know, all of these organizations are part of the fabric of the LGBT community, and we want to really support that.
So it just kind of made sense now that we had the space where we had an abundance, that we had the ability to be able to give back to the community and give back to those organizations that gave to us.
We all benefited from that when we were in college and you know, coming out and growing up. These are agencies that served us, and we just want to do something that can help give back to them.
But so we've done the FOG.
Or the Gay Fraternity at UC Berkeley.
The Gay and Lesbian Freedom Band.
And other groups like Project Open Hand.
I've been with Project Open Hand for 3.5 years now. I've never worked for an agency where I've been so comfortable and happy and proud of the way the place is run. We at Project Open Hand get a large number of meals and groceries to people living with disabling HIV and AIDS, breast cancer, those that are homebound and critically ill, as well as senior lunches that get out to a certain portion of the seniors in San Francisco. It's a really good agency, and I'm not saying that merely because I work there. I'm saying it because they get food to people who need it. And to have them as one of the beneficiaries was a real treat. It also meant that I got to go to work and say, I need volunteers for this Saturday night. Y'all need to come out and do coat check. You need to come and do clean up. And people did. And it's an agency that's used to getting up on its feet and getting things done very quickly. So it was no problem getting staff members to come and volunteer their time on a Saturday night.
We've had a lot of local celebrities. The queen of the Big Gay Frat House is Ethel Merman. We've had Rhea Lighton here, who is just an incredible performer. Katya, who is our queen of the fairies. For our Girl Drink Drunk, Trauma Flintstone has been the hostess, and she's been amazing.
It wasn't until they started getting a bit philanthropic and they started getting involved in good causes around town that I linked forces with them as a performer.
Probably the biggest name is Varla Jean Merman. She was at our very first event.
The year before, she had performed at the Sydney Opera House, and now she was performing at a 2-car carport.
And we yelled out, 3 cars, sweetheart. This is San Francisco.
Well, our very first fundraiser was for SF Fog, Balls Out Ball.
The biggest was probably the first Balls Out Ball.
Which was an insane event to put on. We had no idea what we were doing.
That was the one that raised the most money.
Crouch! Touch! Pause! Engage!
The San Francisco Fog is a club committed to an ethic of inclusion, welcomes newcomers to the sport of rugby. We've been around for about 5 years or so. What makes this club pretty unique is that we try to open up the sport to a lot of people traditionally underrepresented in the sport of rugby, including women, gay men, and people of color. Many people know about the San Francisco Fog through Mark Bingham, who is a hero on United 93 from September 11th, 2001. We decided to start a tournament called the Bingham Cup, held in San Francisco in 2002, and it's been going very strong now. We're going to be going out to Dublin, Ireland in 2008 with 3 full sides, 1 woman, 2 men, and we'll be one of about 40 gay teams out there competing in what's being considered as one of the largest amateur rugby tournaments in the world.
I got involved because I hosted a rugby party, the Rugby Balls Out Ball, I think it was called.
We raised over 5 figures in money to allow a lot of our players to go over to New York in the Bingham Cup.
What intrigued me about it is they said they were doing a full Monty, so how could I miss it? Well, I'm Greg the Gay Sportscaster, and I work for Energy 92.7, which is a local radio station here in San Francisco. It's actually the only independently owned radio station, and I am on the Fernando and Greg show, and we're both gay. I think it's the only commercial radio station that has 2 openly gay hosts in the morning.
We each have a role to play, for sure.
We all have our own strengths and skills that we contribute to throwing really amazing parties.
That half of the couch is kind of the social aspect of it. This half of the couch is the behind the scenes.
I'm much better about trying to hook up for donations and talk groups and to, getting volunteers here and then browbeating them to make sure they actually perform.
So Tim's anal retentive side is very good for that.
Yeah. Well, David's also anal retentive, so he's managed to sew covers for all this furniture so that people could pour a cocktail on this furniture and it just goes away, it just disappears into the fabric and doesn't touch the leather. He devised the curtain system downstairs that changes our 3-car garage into a stage area. He's very good with all those kind of handy-dandy projects.
I'm the complainer. I'm the glue. I keep it all together. I'm the most dour person Kevin knows.
I'm the old lech. I know all the go-go boys, and I can figure out how to raise money by getting people naked.
Yeah, most people you meet at the bars in the Castro think the Big Gay Frat House is Kevin and some other guys.
They live there and they throw parties, for all kinds of different organizations, helping them to raise money. So I think that's what's really important, and that's what's unique about the house, is that it's their house and they live in it, but they open it up. I helped host an event for the UC Berkeley gay fraternity.
So Sigma Epsilon Omega is a gay fraternity at UC Berkeley. It's one of the few national gay fraternities in the country. We are the only chapter right now of Sigma Epsilon Omega. Basically, Sigma Epsilon Omega was founded as kind of an alternative to what the regular gay scene is right now. And it was just a place for gay guys to come together and be each other's friends and brothers and stick together and help each other out through problems while having a lot of fun on campus.
The Big Gay Frat House did that really had to do with fraternity. So we called it Frat House for the holidays. It was on November 17th of 2007, and it went extremely well. We had more than 175 people show up. It was a great experience for us to see what large-scale fundraising was like, and they were more than open to the idea of throwing a fundraiser for us.
First, you have to find a beneficiary, and they have to be small enough that they're hungry for an activity. We want them to collect money at the door, we want them to be responsible for the coat check, all those kind of things, so we can sort of do macro party management, not the little jobs. Basically, all day Saturday, you're physically setting up, you're toting booze, you're going to the store and buying the fresh limes and the ice and all that stuff. You got to schmooze to get donations for liquor, ice, mixers, all the supplies you need for a party. There's just so many little details. Make sure that the guest list, the comp list is all printed up and correct. Make sure there's change at the door. You got to go to the bank and get a bunch of 5s and 10s. And so you set that up, and if you're lucky, you have time to eat some dinner around 5 or 6 and sit down and rest a little bit, because it's exhausting work. 7 o'clock and the doors open, generally, sometimes 8. And usually with the gay people, they don't show up when the party starts. So there's always that hour of nerves where you're sort of biting your nails down, thinking, is anyone going to come? Is anyone going to come? And then they start to show up, God bless them. And the place starts to fill up, and there's all that great life. And we have the show, and maybe some dancing and music, depends on the event, what the party's like that night. And then close up shop, and it pretty much takes up a whole weekend to throw one 3 or 4 hour party, and we go to bed tired on Sunday, but hopefully proud about the amount of money that the group will be getting, and that everybody had a really great time.
SF Boylesque, we're the nation's premier male burlesque troupe. We started as a theater project about 15 months ago. Now we've got a dance troupe, we've got solo artists, and we've got a barbershop quartet. We're having Flophouse, so we're having performances downstairs, burlesque performances. SF Boylesque is raising money to compete in Miss Exotic World in June, and we're going to be competing as the only male troupe. I met the Big Gay Frat House, I read about them, and I live a block and a half away from here. So came over one day with a bottle of wine and introduced myself, as neighbors should do. They've come to a few of the events supporting us, and since then they suggested having this party here, and I'm just extremely grateful.
Funny stories about the Big Gay Frat House.
Oh boy, how long is that tape?
Well, who's watching this?
Kevin must have a funny story.
Oh,
or 10.
remind me of one.
There are people who have come to our parties that have had more sex in my house than I have.
My pet peeve is when people lock themselves in the bathroom to have sex, because there's only 3 bathrooms, and if you have hundreds of people here,
I won't name names.
20-minute jack-off or suck session or whatever the hell it is
It's a kind of a long list of people.
really inappropriate for all the poor people who have to pee. It's like, you're in the Castro, go do it on the street like everybody else.
I had a friend who came up to me after one of my parties and said, "Oh, I just love your house. You have all these little nooks and crannies where you can go and have sex." And I'm like...
But it was that kind of feeling. People going, ooh, I want to be a part of this too. Let me jump in. I want to take off my clothes.
I've seen a lot of naked men in the garage, so if you want to go to a party there, you definitely need to hang out in the garage about 12:30.
I'm not so sure how many of our direct neighbors even know that we're the Big Gay Frat House.